All right, we are going to be moving on to the coordinate plane. The coordinate plane are two number lines that intersect and make a perpendicular drawing where we have four sections in the coordinate plane. And so we're expanding our number lines to not only go in the positive and the negative direction, we're also going in the up direction and the down direction. And we can think of a quadrant plane as kind of like latitude and longitude when we're working in social studies. So points are written with 2 points listed as x and y. So when we were graphing our integers and our rational numbers, we would just put one dot on the number line because it would only be one. So if we wanted to say that a was at 2, we would place it here. But now we want to give a point two directions to show on a plane or a two-dimensional shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to list them as x and y. So the x-axis is always our original number line going left to right, which is our horizontal line. And the y-axis is our up and down, which is our vertical line. So we have four sections that we work with. This is the section that we've been working with in 4th and 5th grade. All right, quadrant 1, where we would only be viewing positive numbers. Okay, so this would be +1, +2, +3. And if we were going up, we would have +1, +2, +3. So everything in quadrant 1 has a positive value. So sometimes you'll see it listed like this, where x is positive and y is positive. Okay, now when we do a coordinate plane, the quadrant 2 is actually opposite of quadrant 1. So it actually goes in a counterclockwise motion. In quadrant 2, we would do all of our x values first. So we would have -1, -2, -3, and then we have +1, +2, and +3. So if we have a coordinate or a point where it's negative and then a positive, we're going to know that it's going to land in quadrant 2. Quadrant 3 has our -1, -2, -3, along with -1, -2, -3 along our y-axis. Okay, so everything in quadrant 3 are negatives. Okay, and if you notice, everything in quadrant 3 is negative and everything in quadrant 1 is positive. So the things diagonal from each other are opposites. Okay, moving on to quadrant 4, and that's how we write 4 in Roman numerals. We have our +1, 2, and 3, and then we have our -1, 2, and 3. So everything in quadrant 1 is going to be a positive value and then a negative value when we do that. Okay, so a good thing to know is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. All right, so if we wanted to list what our points were, if we wanted to name points, we have 3 that are graphed here, A, B, and C, and we need to name them. Well, just like on a number line, we always go left or right first. Okay, that's always the direction that we go first because X comes before Y, and all of our number lines have gone across first. Then we go up or down. So if we're going to name point A, we're going to start here, which we call the origin, 0, 0. Okay, the origin is like when you're in when you look up the definition, the origin means the beginning, the start. So we always start at 0, 0. What we do then is we go along our x-axis first. So if we start at 0, 0, we go over 1 and we go over to -2. So our first coordinate for A is going to be -2. So that's our first point. Okay, then we go up or down, and since A is up, we go up 1, 2, 3. So A is located at -2, 3. So remember we said everything in quadrant 2 was going to be a negative and then a positive, and that's what my coordinates are here. All right, moving on to point B. All right, so again, we start at the origin, 0, 0, and we move over 1, 2. So that's my first point. Okay, and then we go down 1, so then -1. So here I have +2, -1. And again, we said that everything in quadrant 4 was going to be a positive and then a negative. All right, Going over to C, how would we name C? Again, start at the origin. We're going to go left first to -1. So that's my first coordinate. And then we go down 1. So -1. And again, everything in quadrant 3 should be negative, negative. And there it is, -1, -1. And those are how we name points. All right, so how do we graph them? Same thing. All right, we always start at the origin first, and D is going to be at 0, -3. Well, 0 means I'm not going over left or right any. I'm going straight down. So I go down to 0, go over to 0, which means I don't go over any, sorry, and then I go down to -3. 1, 2, 3. So here is where D is going to land. Over 0, down 3. Okay, and E is at 4, 2. So again, we start at the origin and we go over 1, 2, 3. Oh, 4 would be about right here. And then we go up 2, 1, 2. So this is where point E would be approximately located. So over 4, up 2. All right. Now let's look at D real fast. D is not located in a quadrant. We do not say that D is located at 3.5 because it's right halfway in between 3 and 4. We say D is located on the y-axis because that's where it is on. It is on this y-axis. All right, so if I said where's point E located, we would say quadrant 1. Where is point A located? Quadrant 2. Where is point D located? The y-axis. So if I wanted something located on the x-axis, that means it has to be somewhere along this line right here. So let's pretend we have f, and f is going to be at -1, 0. So that means I go over -1 and up or down none, 0. So here is f at -1, 0. And we would say f is located on the y-axis. Okay, so there's the coordinate plane. Again, coordinate plane is written with 2 points. It is listed as x and y, where the x-axis is the normal number line that we draw on our paper, and y goes up and down. We always start at the origin. We go left or right first, depending if it's a positive or negative integer. We go up or down second, again, if it's a positive or negative integer. And our quadrants are labeled quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. And if a point is not in that quadrant, it's either located on the x-axis or the y-axis.